So we're back. A Day in the Life of a Jew, Part 2. We spoke about the idea of doing mitzvot, doing the commandments. The commandments are to be done, not thought about, not dreamt about. Oh, I'd like to do... No, we do the mitzvot. We do the commandments. So there are essentially three categories of commandments. We have chukim. These are laws that have no rational explanation. We can derive an explanation, but the Torah does not give us any type of rational explanation. So let me give a couple examples. Shatnez. Shatnez is the law prohibiting the combination of wool and linen in the same fabric and woven it together in the same fabric. Why? I'll tell you. I don't know. But it's a mitzvah. Anyway, so that's one of them. The putting on of tefillin. So it says it's to be a reminder. The tefillin are the boxes we place on our arm and on our head. The Torah says it's to be a reminder of the Exodus from Egypt. But other than that, there's no reason given. And we don't wear the tefillin on the Sabbath or the holidays. Why? Because the Sabbath and the holidays are also reminders of our history, our Exodus from Egypt. So again, no real rational explanation. And here's one that people forget is under this category, and that's the laws of kashrut, keeping kosher. You can say that there are health reasons, there are health benefits, but I've seen the ingredients in some kosher items, and I wouldn't call all those chemicals that are in there very healthy. So health is not the reason for kashrut. It is a law that we just don't understand. So that's the first category. The second category are Torot or Edot. These are laws that are uniquely Jewish. So for instance, the laws of the holidays, eating matzah on Passover, apples and honey on Rosh Hashanah, eating dairy products on Shavuot. These are laws, again, that are uniquely Jewish, that you don't see elsewhere. The laws of ritual purity. So in this week's Torah reading, we're taught the laws of the red heifer, the offering of the red heifer, the making of the ashes, and the liquid, the concoction that one has to be sprinkled with in order to become ritually pure after coming in contact with the dead. So you're sprinkled with this, and here's the most confusing part: the priest, the Kohen, who administered this, he becomes ritually impure. So how does that work? Again, these are laws of ritual purity, some of which we have rational explanation, some of which we don't. Also the laws of the sacrificial system, for instance. The laws where we're brought offerings, and if you remember something I mentioned before, many of the offerings were eaten by somebody, whether it was the priests, the Levites, or by the person or family bringing them. The two most notable examples are the Chagiga, the festival offering, which was eaten by the family that brought it, or the Passover offering, which was eaten in its entirety by the family that brought it. So many of in using the term sacrifice, it's sort of a misnomer, because these are offerings that were brought, and many of them were eaten. Okay. Now, the last and probably the most easy to understand is the mishpatim, judgments. These are laws that have a rational explanation. The laws of property ownership, the laws of liability. If a shingle falls off your roof and hits somebody, are you responsible? If there's a hole in the ground and someone falls in or trips over it, are you liable? See, these are laws that are sort of echoed in our own judicial system here in the United States. And then there are civil laws. These are the laws of, well, for instance, I'll use an American speed limits on the highway. Those are civil laws, but the same thing applies in Jewish law. And these were things that were judged. If you violated, they were brought to a Beit Din, a house of judgment, and you would be able to plead your case in this, quote, court of law. So we sort of alluded to this in the first section, and that was, what does it mean to be observant? And I talked about, is it all these buttons you have to press and levers you have to pull? And again, we spoke about that. Every day we have certain rituals that we observe and certain processes and things that we do during the day. But ultimately, every mitzvah has the same underlying purpose, and that's to get close to God. I referenced that in our last session. God doesn't believe in ritual, I don't think. But if we want to establish a relationship with God, all these mitzvot, all these commandments, all the things that we observe is to help us make ourselves like God. Make ourselves, to bring ourselves up. So that is encompassing, in general, the day in the life of a Jew. Praying, washing one's hands with a blessing, eating kosher food, being kind to one another. In Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers, it says, Mekabel et hadam b'sever panim yafot, receive everyone, greet everyone with a cheerful face. Be kind. Let people know you care about them. And besides, if you smile all day, people will wonder what you've been up to. So that's always a good thing, to keep people wondering. In any case, this is what we mean by living a Jewish life. Living authentically, doing what has to be done to become closer to God and to become closer to the people around us. Thank you for your kind attention. We'll see you next time.